1. In the vast majority of businesses, there is simply no such thing as the best. Here's what that really means. For most industries, the concept of a single, definitively superior business or product is a myth. Success is often relative and depends on specific contexts or customer segments. 2. Finally, strategy must have continuity. It can't be constantly reinvented. This quote reminds us that for a strategy to be effective, it requires consistent adherence and should not be frequently abandoned or drastically altered. Stability is essential for long-term impact. 3. Technology has given us this wonderful opportunity to have low energy costs. We have to seize that rather than keep debating and discussing and fighting over it. Here's what that really means. Technological advancements offer significant benefits like reduced energy costs, and we should proactively adopt them instead of getting bogged down in endless disagreements. 4. Billions are wasted on ineffective philanthropy. Philanthropy is decades behind business in applying rigorous thinking to the use of money. This quote reminds us that a significant amount of charitable giving is inefficiently used, largely because the philanthropic sector lacks the disciplined, strategic financial management common in business. 5. The thing is, continuity of strategic direction and continuous improvement in how you do things are absolutely consistent with each other. In fact, they're mutually reinforcing. Here's what that really means. Maintaining a consistent long-term strategy while simultaneously pursuing ongoing operational improvements are not contradictory but rather complementary and strengthen each other. 6. Healthcare historically has been a very siloed field that's organized around medical specialties, urology, cardiac surgery, and so forth, and around the supply of these specialty services. The patient is the ping-pong ball that moves from service to service. This quote reminds us that the traditional healthcare system is fragmented by specialized departments, leading to a disjointed and often inefficient patient experience where the patient is moved between various uncoordinated services. 7. Companies operating in urban communities have a tremendous ripple effect. Here's what that really means. Businesses established within city areas create widespread positive impacts that extend far beyond their immediate operations, influencing the local economy and community. 8. Apple does all of its research and development in America. It has all these brilliant people sitting in Silicon Valley. But until recently, Apple made nothing in America. 0. And the jobs that were accessible to a good, well-trained worker that knew how to do welding or assembly, none of those jobs had stayed in America. We don't have the workforce. This quote reminds us that, despite high-level R&D in the US, the lack of a suitable manufacturing workforce meant Apple's production jobs were outsourced, highlighting a domestic workforce skills gap. 9. The economic distress of America's inner cities may be the most pressing issue facing the nation. The lack of businesses and jobs in disadvantaged urban areas fuels not only a crushing cycle of poverty, but also crippling social problems such as drug abuse and crime. A sustainable economic base can be created in the inner city, but only as it has been created elsewhere, through private, for-profit initiatives and investment based on economic self-interest and genuine competitive advantage. Here's what that really means. The severe economic challenges in inner cities are a critical national problem, fueling poverty and social issues. Sustainable solutions require private, for-profit investments driven by competitive advantage, not just public programs. 10. I teach in the medical school, the School of Public Health, the Kennedy School of Government, and the Business School. And it's the best perch, because most of my work crosses boundaries. This quote reminds us that working across diverse academic disciplines provides the most insightful and effective perspective, as real-world problems rarely fit neatly into single categories. Multidisciplinary engagement offers a superior vantage point. 11. The U.S. is facing a structural competitiveness problem that is leading to the weakest economy we have seen in generations. Here's what that really means. The United States is experiencing deep-seated, systemic issues impacting its ability to compete globally, resulting in a prolonged period of economic weakness. It points to fundamental challenges in national competitiveness. 12. When you reach for the stars, you may not quite get one, but you won't come up with a handful of mud either. This quote reminds us that even if you aim for extremely ambitious goals and don't fully achieve them, your effort will still lead to significant progress and prevent you from ending up empty-handed. High aspirations yield substantial results. 13. Either we shall find what it is we are seeking, or at least we shall free ourselves from the persuasion that we know what we do not know. Here's what that really means. The pursuit of knowledge will either lead to the answers we seek or, at minimum, enlighten us about our own ignorance, freeing us from false assumptions of understanding. 14. The brightest flame casts the darkest shadow. This quote reminds us that great brilliance, power, or success often comes with significant negative consequences, hidden drawbacks, or intense scrutiny. The greater the light, the greater the potential for associated darkness. 15. In order to fly, you have to give up the ground you are standing on. Here's what that really means. To achieve significant personal growth or pursue new opportunities, you must be willing to leave behind your current comfort zone, familiar routines, or secure positions. Progress requires letting go. 16. How do you react when you think you need people's love? Do you become a slave for their approval? This quote reminds us that an excessive need for external validation can lead to losing your autonomy and behaving in ways that seek approval, rather than acting authentically. It challenges self-worth. 17. When you do the work, you see who you are by seeing who you think other people are. Eventually, you come to see that everything outside you is a reflection of your own thinking. You are the storyteller, the projector of all stories, and the world is the projected image of your thoughts. Here's what that really means. Through deep self-reflection, you realize that your perceptions of others and the world are often projections of your own internal thoughts and beliefs. Your inner narrative shapes your perceived reality. 18. To know your ruling passion, examine your castles in the air. This quote reminds us that to identify your deepest desires and core motivations, reflect on your wildest dreams and ambitious fantasies. Your castles in the air reveal your true passions. 19. If you are influenced by the opinions of others, you will have no desire of your own. Here's what that really means. Allowing external opinions to dictate your choices will erode your personal motivation and prevent you from developing genuine, self-driven aspirations. 20. There is immeasurably more left inside than what comes out in words. This quote reminds us that a person's true depth, thoughts, and feelings are far richer and more complex than what can ever be expressed or perceived through mere conversation. 21. You are who you are by virtue of the company you keep. Here's what that really means. Your character, values, and even your potential are significantly shaped by the people you choose to associate with. Your environment profoundly influences who you become. 22. Our fatigue is often caused not by work, but by worry, frustration, and resentment. This quote reminds us that exhaustion frequently stems from emotional burdens and negative mindsets, rather than solely from physical or mental labor. Psychological stress can be more draining than work itself. 23. Everything in life is speaking in spite of its apparent silence. Here's what that really means. Even in moments of quiet or apparent stillness, life is constantly revealing truths, providing lessons, or communicating through subtle cues and experiences. Pay attention beyond the obvious. 24. You have sole custody of your life. Who you are today is not who you have to be tomorrow. Embrace the possibility of transformation. This quote reminds us that you alone are responsible for your life's direction, and you possess the power to change and evolve. Recognize your agency in self-transformation. 25. Knowledge is proud that it knows so much. Wisdom is humble that it knows no more. Here's what that really means. Knowledge can lead to intellectual arrogance, but true wisdom involves a humble recognition of one's own limitations and the vastness of what remains unknown. 26. The only thing you fear is the unreality that you yourself have invented. This quote reminds us that many fears are self-created illusions or imagined scenarios, not actual dangers. Our minds can construct false realities that become sources of anxiety. 27. Sometimes the dreams that come true are the dreams you never even knew you had. Here's what that really means. Life can surprise you by fulfilling aspirations you weren't consciously aware of, often exceeding or diverging from your explicit goals. Embrace unexpected blessings. 28. The price of discipline is always less than the pain of regret. This quote reminds us that the temporary effort or discomfort of self-control is always preferable to the long-lasting emotional suffering that comes from missed opportunities or poor choices. 29. It doesn't take a lot of strength to hang on. It takes a lot of strength to let go. Here's what that really means. Holding on to things can be passive, but releasing them, especially when necessary, requires true inner fortitude and courage. 30. Sometimes the devil is a gentleman. This quote reminds us that evil or harmful influences can sometimes appear charming, polite, or seemingly benevolent, making them harder to recognize and resist. Appearances can be deceiving. 31. Many eyes go through the meadow, but few see the flowers in it. Here's what that really means. Many people observe without truly appreciating the details or beauty around them. It's a call to cultivate deeper awareness and gratitude for the subtle joys in life. 32. The oldest, shortest words, yes and no, are those which require the most thought. This quote reminds us that, despite their brevity, the decisions to affirm or deny something are often the most significant and require the most careful consideration. 33. Life can only be understood backwards, but it must be lived forwards. Here's what that really means. You gain clarity and insight into life's events only in hindsight, but you must continue to navigate and make choices in the present, moving into an unknown future. 34. It is not the mountain we conquer, but ourselves. This quote reminds us that the greatest challenges and victories in life are often internal struggles against our own limitations, fears, or doubts, rather than external obstacles. Self-mastery is the ultimate conquest. 35. But nothing is more opaque than absolute transparency. Here's what that really means. When something is presented as perfectly clear and open, it can sometimes become suspicious or difficult to truly understand, hinting that complete openness might mask deeper complexities or intentions. 36. The biggest battle in life is with yourself. This quote reminds us that your most significant struggles are often internal conflicts against your own weaknesses, self-doubt, or negative impulses. Personal growth requires overcoming inner challenges. Thank you for spending this moment with the Mind Shelf. Let this quote stay with you, and may your day be filled with peace and purpose. If it stirred something in you, don't let it fade. Reflect, share, and let's grow together, one thought at a time. What does this quote mean to you? Share your thoughts below. Your words might inspire someone else today. If you'd like more gentle wisdom and soulful reflections, Don't forget to subscribe and join our growing mindful community. And if you're watching this as you wind down, close your eyes, breathe deeply, and carry this wisdom into your dreams. Until next time, rest well.